Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hello Day. We're gonna start this week off in Elite Dangerous, where last week Frontier of course had their Frameshift Live, which now comes every other week, and they shared some information about the upcoming update 12. We still don't know exactly when it's gonna come out, but they have said that it's gonna come out this month, which leaves very few days for them now, especially since like the end of the week. I think at least in a lot of countries are like holidays, at least Thursday is, maybe Friday, some places. So they're running slowly out of days, so I'm expecting we're going to see this update come out pretty soon. Like usually Frontier won't really post a date for these, we'll just get an announcement saying, hey, we're taking the servers down tomorrow for this update. So we usually just get like a 24-hour notice and then the servers are down, patches out. They talked about the quality of life changes that they're making in this patch. And a lot of it will revolve around the whole sitting thing. You might remember that we recently got the ability to also sit down in a lot of places and not just walk around, look at the chairs. One of the critiques that I got was that you couldn't really do anything when you could sit down, but you couldn't open your menus, you couldn't interact with the bartender, you couldn't interact with anything really. And that's now changing. So now when you are sat down anywhere, really, you can now open up your menus and access that. You can talk to the bartender at the bar while actually sitting at the bar, which makes a lot of sense. And also when you're sitting in the commander chair on a fleet carrier, the little screen next to you will now also be interactable. And if you interact with it, opens up the fleet carrier management screen. So all nice changes to see. And then they shared information about the upcoming new mission variant that they were going to add. And they did this in an interview, actually like a 40-minute interview or something, with Tom Huell, who is a game designer at Frontier. And it was a brilliant interview, by the way. He talked not only about the new mission variants, but was allowed to talk about what he does in general. It was a good interview. Really recommend you go and watch that if you're interested. But the new mission variant is a illegal variant of the settlement defense mission type that we got in 10 or 11. I can't remember. So those missions of the current version of the settlement defense is you go to a settlement. There's a box. You need to defend the box. And then NPCs spawn in, pirates spawn in, you kill the pirates in waves. Waves get progressively more and more difficult. And eventually mission is over, there are no more waves, you kill all the bad guys, box is safe, hooray! Everybody goes home in time for tea and cookies. Now we get an illegal variant of it, so that means it's essentially the same gameplay, where the missions are given out by an anarchy faction. That anarchy faction will then send you to a settlement owned by them. So now you're at an anarchy settlement where you have this box, and then Omnipol will be spawning in, and you're gonna have to take out, again, same kind of gameplay, like waves of now just police forces, and eventually you're gonna run out of waves, and then hooray, mission completed. So it's the same kind of, like the missions is essentially the same, but just the roles are swapped, right? Instead of being the pirates that comes in trying to steal something from the base and you have to defend it, now you are the bad guys trying to defend something while the police is going to try to come in and destroy it. But the live stream in general, I think, was probably one of the best Frameshift lives they've done so far. Like, there were information were on point, was nice and condensed. They had developers or game designers in this case who were in and being interviewed. They were able to talk about not just the specific thing that they were there for, being the mission variant, but also talk more broadly about what they do and the development of the game and that kind of stuff. I loved that. It was a really, really good live stream. I just think it was so refreshing to see that they didn't spend all this time on oh, there's all these cool things coming. We know we can't talk about it. We're going to talk about it in the future. This is taking up so much airtime in some of their previous streams where they just continue to talk about all the stuff they cannot talk about, tell us how much they want to tell us things that they cannot tell us. Then don't talk about it. Then spend time talking about the stuff that you can talk about. And that's what they did here. It was awesome. Thumbs up. Well done, Frontier. Over in Star Citizen, there's also been some information, and we actually got a massive information dump about the future of Star Citizen and the upcoming broader perspective roadmaps of what's going to happen with the game in the coming year. Chris Robert posted a very, very long like forum post, was more like a letter from the chairman. He has done these before, like a year and a half ago was the last time he did one. He does these occasionally, it seems. And he talked about both looking back, like during COVID and how that's affected the company and stuff like that. But also looking forward at the future of the game, like what are they planning to do? When are updates coming out? When are they going into testing? What are they going to be testing in the different phases? And even update like 4.0, which is supposed to be the next like big update, really big update for the game, coming out surprisingly soon. I did do a dedicated video on this, so if you are interested, you can go and watch that. But one of the things that there's been a lot of talk about now is a lot of the stuff that's going to be added here going forward into update 4.0 is a lot of the like streaming assets to and from servers and server meshing and all that stuff. And it all covers the last of the like 12 pillars that has kind of been defined as the things that is needed for this game to eventually be able to launch and go live. I'm not saying that Star Citizen is going to launch at update 4. I think that's unlikely. But what it means is that if everything goes according to plan, after update 4, the game's going to have all the tech available that's needed to go live. And that means what is then left is polishing it up, bug fixing, performance optimizations. There's obviously a number of ships that are still missing from the game, and most importantly, star systems. I think that's where the game's lacking the most. We still only have Stanton, and the game's supposed to have 100, something like that, star systems. And as I said, plenty of ships that has been announced. They're going to come out, but haven't yet been introduced into the game. So there's still a ton of work ahead. Bugs and optimizations is obviously something they have to do before the press launch, or at least move it into a beta phase. Ships and systems, I could actually see them maybe actually launching and then adding those over time. I mean, obviously we need more than just Stanton, but if the game launches with 10, 20, 25 systems or something like that, and maybe a few ships still missing, and then those are going to be added down the road. Personally, I would be fine with it. The ships is a bit of a, if there's people who bought them and they like, oh, but why don't I have the ship? The game is now launched, but I still don't have my ship, kind of thing. So maybe, I don't know. One of the things I noted in the letter, I think it was nice to see, was that Chris Roberts is clearly still very passionate about this project. You could, and I would have been surprised if you, after been working on this for so long as it's taken to develop this game so far, if enthusiasm was running a bit dry, but that does not seem to be the case. At least from what I read in the letter, he definitely seems like it is very much a passion project for him, and I think that's important. I think that's nice to see. But in more recent news in Star Citizen, we currently have the Invictus launch week running, which means the game is currently free to play. That means until the end of the month, you can go and play the game for free if you so wish. I did get a chance to go in and give it a go here over the weekend. The expo itself was a bit of like meh. I mean, new expo hall out at Orison, which was just a copy paste of the expo hall we have in New Babbage, which I think is a bit of a shame. I think that's a bit of a. I know these like expo hall takes time to develop and stuff like that, but I was kind of hoping that now that they were going to swap planets over to Orison, that maybe the expo hall would have been a little different layout, something like that. That was not the case, unfortunately, but there was a lot of other stuff to look at. Of course, there is the Javelin tour, which I did, which is brilliantly done. So the Javelin is these massive warship, and you come on board, and immediately when you board the ship, you're greeted by an NPC standing there waiting for you. And they explain how this is an active warship, and you really get that feeling, that you're visiting a place where people live, a place where people work. There were areas of the ship that was blocked off, like you could not allowed to go into the armory, you're not allowed to go onto the bridge. There were areas of the ship that were just guards standing and saying, no, you cannot go in here. These areas are off limit to the civilians that are now visiting the ship. It was a bit like if you had like like an open day on like a modern fleet carrier or something like that, where you're allowed to go in and walk around and explore and see the ship for yourself on the inside, something that civilians often don't get to do. And there was kind of the same thing here. And there were NPCs in uniform, like put around in strategic locations, and they were telling about the different areas. And it might seem like, okay, sure, there's some like voiced over NPCs, but it was really well done. The lip syncing from the NPCs to the voice was just spot on. The way the NPCs had a lot of character. Like they were believable. You would believe that was a real person. Like they would go off on a tangent and talk about something and that was clearly felt unscripted. I know that obviously it was, but they felt believable. Like there was an actual person standing there telling me about the barracks on a space fleet carrier. And it was amazing. So if you are going into Star Citizen and you're going to go and try doing the Invictus launch week, go find the Javelin. You can find it on the map. There's a marker on it on the star map. Go there, take the tour. It takes 20 minutes, half an hour to explore the ship and listen to all the NPCs talk and stuff like that. But it's time well spent. I truly enjoyed that. But of course, over the next coming days, there are going to be more ships on display and stuff like that. And there were also the new dynamic event. It was supposed to be like a first-person shooter kind of thing, where you're being transported to a platform that's taken over by pirates, pew all the pirates, and eventually you move from platform to platform. And these platforms are huge, by the way. There's like a whole map, multiple levels and up and elevators. It was a mess. I got lost trying to find my way out of there. Unfortunately, the event was not on while I played. It seemed like the event has been disabled again. Some people said in chat when I was live streaming that the event was causing some server issues and server crashes, so they decided to disable the event. Hopefully they're going to re-enable it again down the line so that we get a chance to go in and play around with it, because I would really like to try it, even though I am terrible at first-person shooters, so I'm probably going to get myself killed. But nevertheless, I hope I get a chance to go in and play around with that. But that leads me on to the live stream tomorrow. With the launch week running at the moment, I'm going to jump back into Star Citizen on Tuesday. We have a whole host of new ships up for grabs, but up on display here on Tuesday. And it's some of my favorite ship manufacturers. We have Origin Jump Works on there. We have RSI on there. CO is on. There was one more that I forgot. But there's some good manufacturers on there that make some of my favorite ships. And I'm really looking forward to going in, even though I've probably seen all the ships already, but I'm going to go and take a look at them anyway. And if we're lucky, the first-person shooter part of it has been re-enabled, so we can go out and give that a go. But that's all going to be tomorrow, and it's going to be at 7 o'clock GMT, and it's going to be live streamed on YouTube and on Twitch as usual. Hope I'll see you there. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in space.